It's another episode of the Brett Allen Show. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening. Today, we are talking about a fantastic film, Causeway, which will be premiering here very soon, Friday, November 4th in theaters, and then subsequently on Apple TV+. We're chatting with Fred here, Fred Weller, who is a part of this beautiful film. I had the chance to screen this last night, so we won't talk spoilers here today, but by the time this episode is gone to air, the film will already be out. Fred, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I know from a previous interview you did with my colleague, Paul Ben-Victor.
Yes.
You were on In Plain Sight. Is that correct?
I did a couple episodes. I did some background, and then I got bumped to a stand-in. And for those who aren't familiar, that's a big pay bump for a day player. The episode I remember was a priest walks into a bar, and Joe Spano was the guest star on that episode back in the NCIS days, and everybody was just excited to see him because he hadn't done anything for a while. And we filmed at the Albuquerque studios. We were there for like 17 or 18 hours because we filmed way into the night. So
we did it.
Yeah. Those guys rolled hard there. And then afterwards, as a sidebar, they went to another bar, Kelly's, to finish filming the episode after we all got released. So I digress. But yeah, that was a great show, by the way. So that was a lot of fun.
Loved it. Both my kids were born there in Albuquerque.
Yeah. So let's talk about Causeway. You have a great role in this film. Can you let our listeners and viewers in on just sort of what the film is about? Because I feel like you would probably do a much better job explaining, because it's a fantastic film.
It's an amazing movie, beautiful movie. Jennifer Lawrence is a soldier recovering from, PTSD, physical and psychological wounds from an IED. And so she's forced to go home to New Orleans, something she swore she wouldn't do. And she has to move in with her mom, played by Linda Emond, who's just a classic New Orleanian, drowning her loneliness in booze and boyfriends that won't stick. And she starts this amazing relationship, Jennifer Lawrence does, with Brian Tyree Henry, who's just next level riveting in this movie. And it's about two people with scars helping each other heal in a kind of non-romantic love story, I think. But right? Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I really appreciated. I mean, either way it could have gone was fine, but that I really found special about this film is that these two characters really do have this intimate kind of relationship, but it's not in the way that most people might expect or perceive. And I feel like the chemistry between them and, of course, you, it's just really great. And the film is truly a love letter, I feel, to just being able to have an open conversation about people who might have experienced something similar to this, and really how we can address the problems in sort of a way that's okay, if that makes any sense, without any sort of stigma.
Yeah, you're talking specifically about soldiers' PTSD, which is, I mean, so many in our lifetime, our generation, are coming back from combat and walking around among us, and they're scarred. Jennifer Lawrence just does a gorgeous portrayal of that, and then Brian Henry has more mysterious scars that we don't know what they are for a while, which I think is just riveting. I mean, and he just plays that character to perfection. And as you say, their chemistry is just fabulous. Reminded me a little bit of some other great coming of age movies, or person living beneath her potential type movies, Five Easy Pieces, except that she's forced into it. It's not like she's just a slacker. I mean, she's trying to recover. Yeah, I thought their relationship was fantastic.
So I'm very curious, Fred, because you've had a lot of great projects, including this. What sort of interested you or attracted you to the project and made you go, "This is something that I would really love to be a part of"?
Well, Lila Neugebauer was directing it, and she's one of the best theater directors working today. I was doing a play at the time, and I guess she'd seen me in it and a couple other plays. So I jumped at the chance to work with her. She was fabulous. Plus, I thought the script was amazing. Um, yeah, I just love a story that's full of love and people trying to learn and grow. And also, I thought it was really mysterious. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, their backstories are just so well done and so well portrayed, and the way they weave together. And I mean, I never knew what was going to happen next, but I was really interested in finding out. And but in the most interesting, sophisticated way. It's not like it's not the kind of suspense you get from a slasher whodunit,
Yeah, there's definitely not that.
It's just character explanation, and the characters and their backstories just keep turning, and it's just gorgeous movie, really.
Yeah, and I really encourage our listeners and viewers to watch this when it comes out. I don't know. I feel like with all the streaming choices that there are today to consume content, I feel like Apple TV Plus really has hit their stride with these original stories and series as well. Obviously, Ted Lasso, but these films as well, because they just are done so well. Now, you do have a background and you've done theater, you've done a lot of different things. Where did the actor or storytelling journey begin for you? What sort of sparked that fire to choose this profession?
Well, I was in kindergarten and doing the Christmas play for the whole school. And, the whole school came, and something happened with the other kindergartners, which was their performances suddenly were different from in rehearsal. They were kind of, I don't know, they seemed freaked out by the presence of all the people, but it made it more fun for me. And so then the older girls from the school kept stopping me in the hallway and telling me how cute I was. And so I thought, okay, this could be a way to meet people. And so that kind of set me on my journey. I kept on sort of doing plays throughout school and wound up going to drama school and did plays out of school. I got an understudy job with 6 Degrees of Separation. I don't know if you remember that play back in the early 90s, and did a couple of episodics here and there. And it just kind of kept on going. You're sitting at a poker table and you just think, I'll play one more hand. And so that's how it worked. I just kind of, the jobs weren't, listen, they weren't 100% steady, but they kept coming enough that I just kept working. So, and I loved it. I certainly am glad I went into it.
Yeah, well, we've all enjoyed your work. Now, we mentioned that, your in plain sight days, your kids were born in New Mexico and your wife is in the industry too. So it's kind of a family business. But now that your children are older, do they kind of get what you guys do as far as profession? I don't know if they've seen any of either of your work or their ages, which we don't have to say those numbers, but I'm just curious. I always like to find out, like, if they kind of understand what mom and dad do for a living, the traveling and the working and all that sort of stuff.
Well, I was doing a play when I shot Causeway, and fortunately they were able to come and see it. It was To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't think it was right for them to see the second act because you find out some nasty information about my character then. But the first act they saw, and that was a thrill. That was really thrilling to be able to perform for them live. They've seen a couple of shots of In Plain Sight. I'd like to show them more. The thing about New York is you walk around, and I don't get recognized very often, but because it's New York and people go to the theater and you just see people on the subway, occasionally I'll get recognized. And if I'm with my kids, when I get recognized, I love it. I appreciate it because,
Yeah.
then they respect me for like a half hour after that.
I love it. Well, as we
Uh,
wrap here, I do want to make sure people watch this film when they can, but I do want to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird because that was a massive undertaking for you and the play. I mean, just as far as revivals go, just absolutely hit with fire.
yeah,
How was that experience working on such a play of a massive theatrical level? I mean, just huge.
it was amazing. Yeah, it was really, really incredible. Um, Yeah, I mean, I figured it was going to be a hit, but you just never know. And then the audience came, and we knew immediately. And Aaron Sorkin's adaptation is so great, and he was very hands-on. He gave me a speech. I want to say it was like 4 days before the critics came. We were into the
Wow.
fully into performances. We've been performing for a month for an audience, but he was working, he was tweaking, he never stopped, just trying to get it just right. And I think he did. I mean, it's just one of the best pieces of theater I've ever been involved with.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a different adaptation too. The kids are
Oh yeah.
considerably older, but it's still the premise is still the same. Well, I tell you what, again, as we were talking earlier, I've been a fan of your work for a long time. I
Thank
enjoy
you.
watching you when I get the opportunity, and I think everybody will be quite pleased with Causeway again when it becomes available for people to watch. Fred, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I appreciate your time today.
Great talking to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.